There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is chill. Yeah.
Hello Marvelous Legends, it's your boy David here, and it's time for another quick capsule review. Because it's still grey, wet and miserable outside, we're all stuck in lockdown, that's just time stamping this video. And finally, I have received my ultimate grail, my actual first ever grail figure. When I first started collecting, this was the one piece where I was like, I need to get this to fulfill my collection, but there's no way I'm going to find it for a reasonable price. That's the thing, a lot of people are having this debate about what constitutes a grail. They're like, you can't call that a grail, you can find it, it's just expensive. That's everything though. There are no grails anymore. eBay and Amazon means that short of something that's insanely rare, nothing is really a grail. Rogue isn't a grail. You can find her easily, it's just how much you're willing to pay. So by my definition, a grail is a figure that you can get, but you just don't want to pay that much money for it. And in that case, for me, it would be the Chameleon. Here he is. Don't worry, I'm going to do a proper sort of like white background close-up. Let's look at him properly sort of part of this video as well. But just first of all, ta-da! It's the Rhino wave Chameleon. I have spent so long trying to get this little bastard. Part of the Rhino wave, which just flew off the shelves, and particularly this guy. Why? Because Hasbro, mama didn't raise no fool, they gave him 2 extra heads. And what happens when a character has interchangeable heads? You end up buying multiple figures so that you can pop the heads on different ones and expand your collection even further. So I think a lot of people bought 3 Chameleons, guaranteeing that he flew off the shelf and made life tough for poor old Dave to find him. So now that I do have the Chameleon, let's take a closer look at him. And he is a nice looking figure. It's funny, for a grail figure, he's not actually that exciting. He is essentially just a dude in a suit, but that's what the Chameleon is. In the animated series, he has a very sort of super duper toyetic looking spy kind of costume, but for the comic books, he is just a guy in a suit with his white head. And this is something, even as a lifelong Spider-Man fan, I've always been kind of unsure of as to whether or not the white head itself, is this his actual head? Does he have like a superpower? Is he a mutant? Or is he a normal person wearing this white mask that he can project images over? If so, there's nothing really special about him. He's just got this technology. Anyone could wear that mask and, you know, be the Chameleon. But as far as the representation of it goes, it's a very, very nice looking head sculpt. They've really given him that great sort of alien looking face with the pointed nose and the sort of glossed over ears. And of course, you've got this lovely blue shading on the face as well. And this seems to work really well to give some depth and contours to it. And this is the only figure, Hasbro, where it's acceptable to have a very, very clear ridge, a clear join going in the face, because that's exactly how the mask looks. It has that line going through the center, splitting it down the middle. So, well done Hasbro, very, very accurate there. And as we take a look at the body sculpt, it's a decent, slim, average Joe kind of body sculpt, which is great because you can use this for all sorts of different figures if you want to. Now, what's a little bit funny, he's only got 1 pair of hands, and both of them are designed to hold his guns, which we'll look at later. But the fingers are all connected together, so you don't have a trigger finger that you can put into the notch on the gun. So he just kind of like holds it like with a flat palm, which is a bit awkward. But I'm willing to forgive that. One thing that worries me a little bit, I must admit, is you see, we got the blue trousers there, or pants, if you will, going down to the nice shoe there. And here we've got the blue pants going down to a blue joint, which goes down to what looks like a black slipper. There's no paint on this joint here. You can see there's paint on this side, yeah, but there's no paint on this side, which does worry me a little bit that the figure that I finally got to fulfill my ultimate grail is a knockoff. Someone who knows more than me, don't all rush in at once, please tell me if that's like a sure sign of this is a knockoff, or is it just like a little factory glitch? If it's a random factory glitch, I can live with that. So looking past that, you've got the detail on the belt, which is really nice. I like that, that catches the light. And the tie, of course, is great because it's a separate piece as well. So it can move up and sit away from the body, it looks more realistic. There's more to it. The jacket is a soft plastic, so that in itself is really nice. It's a basic figure, but he's represented really well. Let's take a look at the accessories now. First of all, check out, for any Spider-Man collection, you've got to have the J. Jonah Jameson head, and I have done what so many people have done. Nothing particularly creative about this, but it works so well. I mean, why improve on perfection? Put the J. Jonah Jameson head on the claw body from Black Panther. Now, some other people have used the Lewis body from the Ant-Man 2-pack. That works really well as well for Jameson. It gives him a great animated series look. But for me, with the rolled up sleeves and the waistcoat, this is classic Jameson here. And he's got that great, get me Spider-Man kind of look about him. I think this works absolutely terrifically for Jameson. One thing that I did notice is that there's some paint missing in the different colors on his hair, separating the black from the gray, which again is a little bit worrying. Definitely not a knockoff. Definitely still not a knockoff, okay? So yeah, the head for Jameson looks terrific, and if you're willing to invest a few quid in a new body for him, it's terrific. Really, really nice. What isn't so good, I think, is the third head. Hammerhead. Look at this little guy. Look how teeny tiny he is. I've always seen Hammerhead portrayed in the comic books as being like a big, hulking brute of a guy. Human, not like the Hulk, but, he's normally depicted as being a big, tough, a hoss of a character. And, the Chameleon body is just not really going to do it. This head on there, it's like, it's okay, but see, I feel it just doesn't really make the Hammerhead look particularly intimidating, or, it doesn't really do much for him. And also, I think it's a bit of a funny looking head sculpt. Yes, of course, it's supposed to be a flat top head. That's why it's called Hammerhead, but it doesn't really do much for me. So until we get a better Hammerhead, I think he will be, or remain, unrepresented in my Spider-Man Rogues gallery. Now, we're not done with accessories though. This was back in the good old days, when Hasbro would give us decent accessories, because not only do we get the 2 extra heads, but we got a whole bunch of guns as well. First of all, we got this kind of not quite Tommy gun. I suppose it's as close a look as we were going to get, but this sits very nicely in the Chameleon's hand here. And this is, his right hand can grip it perfectly. That's actually a really nice fit for him. And of course, he has the little cartoony pew pew kind of laser pistol sort of thing. So that goes in his other hand. But again, without the trigger finger being separate, it doesn't fit very well. And it does have a habit of falling out of his grip. So there is that. But that notwithstanding, holding the two of them together, he looks pretty cool. I'll take that. And also, they have kind of a futuristic grenade launcher type thing. And I've used that to kitbash my least favorite character ever. The Peter David clone conspiracy Ben Reilly. Look at this. We got the Scarlet Spider, the original Scarlet Spider figure. Got the scarred up, bruised up Peter Parker head from the Craven 2-pack. And now we've got the shotgun, grenade launcher, thingamajig, whatever this might be, that he's holding as well. So an awful character, straight out of an awful Scarlet Spider series, but hey, it's another addition to the Spider-Verse shelf, so he can go there. Another fun little kit bash head swap you can do is to place the Chameleon head on the body of Kraven. Chameleon was originally introduced, or it was later revealed, I'm not sure what came first, but he was Kraven's servant. He sort of, helped raise him as a child and was always his kind of lackey, basically. So after Kraven originally died, the Chameleon's mental health kind of took a downward spiral, and eventually, after a series of unfortunate events, he wound up in Ravencroft Institute, unable to differentiate himself from Kraven, which was another reason that made me think, is that actually his white face? Because he was in his cell, still with the white face, like, wouldn't you take that off of the person once they've been committed? I don't know, I'm not a doctor. Anyway, that doesn't really work, in fairness. The head is a little bit small for the Kraven body, but it's just a fun little thing that I like to do. And in conclusion, I have to say, this is an okay figure. Yeah, he might be an ultimate grail, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be one of the best looking characters on the shelf. He looks fine. Chameleon is decent. He was part of the Rhino wave, which instantly made him hard to come by, let alone coming with 2 extra heads, which meant that everyone was going to snap up multiple copies of him. So I'm very pleased to finally have this guy in my collection. Is he the most incredible looking figure out there? Nah, not really, but he's an essential Spider-Man villain, and now he can take pride of place on the Spider-Man shelf. Alright guys, I've been on a bit of a hiatus for the last few days, but I'm looking to come back in a big way. So, like, share and subscribe. My next video is going to be the start of another story arc that I'm going to do. It's one that I've been really looking forward to, and I had to wait for the Age of Apocalypse wave to come in, because there was one character there that I thought, no, I can't do this until I get them. So now that it's complete, well, the Age of Apocalypse wave isn't complete. Us here in the UK are still waiting on Jean Grey, but we'll get her eventually. That notwithstanding, the next video is going to be the start of a whole new story arc. A whole lot of figures that I really love are going to be in it, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next episode.